Right, so this talk is apparently called Nobody Likes You Jenkins, which seems a little bit harsh, doesn't it? Sorry. Right, this guy obviously has done a great job with the slides. This is my new tech-focused Twitter handle, because a lot of people complain that my Andy Gale Twitter handle is full of football, Bristol Rovers nonsense, which it kind of is. I organise Bristol DevOps, and I run Hello Future, where we do DevOps stuff, which is what this slide is about, but we're going to skip that. So, Nobody Likes You Jenkins. So, as we can see, he don't like that, does he? Bless him. And you can blame him. So, why is that harsh situation happening? Well, Andy, why don't you like Jenkins? Well, I actually quite like it. Hello Future, we use them loads. Loads of our customers use it. We do manage Jenkins for our customers, in fact. And if you want a managed Jenkins install, we'll happily do that for you. I'll just use this, I think. So there you go, he's all happy. Although he doesn't look that happy, does he? He looks a bit drunk. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but there we go. So, what is the problem with Jenkins? There's nothing the problem with Jenkins, but Jenkins is so flexible. There's plugins for loads of different things, but that's kind of a con for it as well. People think, well, I just use Jenkins for that. People use Jenkins for like task-orientated tasks, like updating servers. They think we'll do continuous delivery, we'll just push stuff out with Jenkins, connect to servers and things like that. And it's kind of stuff that Jenkins shouldn't really be used for. It's not designed for it, essentially. And finally, you can all read, Jenkins is quite complicated to set up, really, because it's Java. Nobody likes Java. Well, some people do, presumably. So, what I'm saying is, use Jenkins for what it's designed for. And you won't cry anymore, which will be lovely. So what should you use it for? I'm now going to present some alternatives to Jenkins. And here we go. So there's various online tools. Circle CI, Semaphore CI, CodeShip, which isn't called .ci for some reason. Snap CI, and over there Travis CI, which I am sure most people have heard of. And they all just basically do what Jenkins does. They do continuous integration, which is what Jenkins was designed to do. And if you leave Jenkins alone and let it do continuous integration, it's very good at it, if you don't mind installing Java. But maybe if you've just started out and you're a startup and you've got some kind of code you might want to write, or some kind of website you might want to develop, and you're not that interested in running infrastructure and you're not that interested in running a Jenkins server, then maybe some of these particular tools might help you. So, and it's my favourite site because I get to hate on YAML. All of these tools, which we just saw, with the notable exception of CodeShip, which for some reason doesn't use YAML, I don't know why, because we all love YAML, basically allow you to put a file in your repository root called something.yaml. Clues are like circle.yaml, travis.yaml, semaphore.yaml, and you can define which version of PHP you want and which PHP extensions you want and which Pcode extensions you want and stuff like that. And instead of having to set up an entire Jenkins server, you can just basically go, here we are, please do some PHP unit testing for me, which is very good. And you get an interface which looks a little bit like this. So here's my personal website, and you get like generally they all look, I was going to do multiple slides of how they all look, but they all look like this. There's a logo in the top, there's the commit, that's the commit message, the commit ref, and the various things that have happened. So it'd be a Jekyll site, sorry it's Ruby, but they were. Build, deploy, done. It's that simple. They all basically look like this. It's a nice interface, nicer interface than Jenkins, easier to set up, lovely. So why would you ever use Jenkins again? Hopefully I've got an answer for that, otherwise it's not going anywhere, is it? So, Jenkins Alternatives Pros, not Jenkins Pros. Bit confusing, I realise that. It's easy to set up. You don't have to deal with that high maintenance Butler. He's a high maintenance Butler, he is. Butler should be quite easy to use generally. You get up, they give you your breakfast, make you a cup of tea maybe, drive you to work. But Jenkins, he's not like that, is he? He's always on you. He wants you to help him. So, these online tools, easy to set up. You don't have to host Jenkins on a server, a box under the desk, which is basically where Jenkins gets run in most places. Someone has a box under their desk, which is business critical, and no one knows about it until the cleaner turns it off. Does some hoovering, no one can deploy and doesn't understand why. So a lot of the projects you may run, especially open source ones, but most smaller projects, most of them are like 100 builds a month or something like that. If you've got fast velocity, you might want to pay for it, but most general stuff you do, you can run for free or $50 or pounds or whatever. And loads of them automate stuff to Elastic Beanstalk, Heroku, Capistrano is built in, allow you to run custom scripts and stuff like that. So basically, let's just not bother with Jenkins anymore, is what I'm saying. But that's not what I'm saying. Because these alternatives can be inflexible. If something like Docker comes out, it's kind of pitched at something that's new, but it's not that new, is it, Docker? But a new thing like Docker comes out and you want to start shipping Docker images, you can't do that with one of these online tools. There's only 2 of them support it right now. I'm not going to tell you which ones, because I don't remember. No, I do remember. It's Semaphore and Circle, I think they are. But those support those already, but the rest of them don't still. Yeah. So, but if you had Jenkins box, you could just install Docker, run a command, job done. And the really key, crucial point of it is that most of them only support GitHub. So if you keep your code somewhere else, in GitLab, in Codebase, which is my favourite, some of them support Bitbucket, but only 2 or 3 of them, you have to use Jenkins or something else. And also, as I say, they're always behind with the technologies which are supported, and so one will support Bitbucket but won't support Docker, or one will support the Dalek.js, for example, and won't support Docker. So the other thing I want to say, Jenkins is still sad because people use him as a task runner. And if you use Jenkins as a task runner, you're going to, my second favourite South Park quote of all time, have a bad time. First one is, I'm not your buddy friend, I'm not your friend guy. Yeah. Anyway, so a really good alternative for that is Rundeck. You can basically use it to orchestrate the running of SSH on random boxes, which you can do with Jenkins, but the key is Jenkins is kind of like a thing that you just use. It's not designed for it, but Rundeck is really good at scheduling jobs, which you can do in Jenkins, of course, but it can automatically discover the things it needs to push stuff to. So if you use Chef, which obviously you should, or you use Salt, which, unless you want it on your chips, I wouldn't understand why you would want to. Or, maybe if you use AWS as a plugin for that as well, but you can discover all the different nodes you want to push your stuff out to, and you can basically set up tasks. So you say, I want to fetch this database from this remote machine. And people do that in Jenkins, and I've done that in Jenkins, but that's not what Jenkins is designed for. Whilst if you use something like Rundeck, it will say, I tried to get this database from this remote machine, and I didn't get it from this particular machine, so that failed. And you'll get a report back, and there's an API and things like that. And finally, SSH into servers and running any commands on them, you should just stop doing that, because you don't need to do that. You should just block the SSH port other than to Rundeck and never talk to your servers again. And I'll argue about that till the end of time in the pub later if you want to talk about that. So Rundeck, basically, you can do self-service jobs. Your developers can fetch the latest database. Your IT operations people can run Chef or Puppet or Ansible or pour vinegar on their chips or use Salt. And your support team can do these various tasks that they need to do. There's no agent you need to install. There's an API. You get the failure results. And also, you can run your Rundeck jobs from Jenkins. So you can just go, Jenkins, please do my continuous integration. Thank you very much. That's done. That's what you're good at. Thank you. let's use rundeck to deploy our code or push it to staging or whatever else, which works very well. Rundeck has got these lovely interfaces, which I'm not really sure why I put the pictures in, but they look a bit like Jenkins with like a rundeck logo in the top. I think you agree. Run some commands, but the difference is, the thing you really need to realise is, you say, I want to run these commands on these servers, and when these things happen, I want you to run these other commands. But what Jenkins doesn't really get is it gets failure or success. Rundeck gets failure, in progress, what happens next, what do I do after that. So it seems like I've conned you into me hating on Jenkins, but in reality, I'm hating on YAML and telling you how great Rundeck is. So like there's a thing here where you like this is kind of like the status of your job and what's happened. Okay, which isn't a great example. Maybe we should have put a failure in there, but you know, if you copy and paste stuff off their docs, you're not going to get stuff like that. And 6 nodes, you can filter on the nodes and run commands on the nodes and stuff like that. So that's the thing you've got to kind of get involved in. That Jenkins doesn't understand all these things. It's not designed to understand these things, and you shouldn't use it for these things. But Rundeck, it knows about nodes and stuff and where you might want to deploy stuff and things like that. So kind of in summary, like, we shouldn't hate Jenkins. I mean, if he looks like he does on the right when he's happy, maybe we should. But don't hate on Jenkins, just use it for continuous integration, because that's what it was designed for. And if you don't want to install Jenkins, use one of the online tools. They work really well. If you want to run tasks, use a task runner. And finally, if you do, after this presentation, which I find unlikely, want someone to set up Jenkins or one of these online tools for you, then Hello Future are the company for you. Thank you very much.